organization of doctoral training. That is actually a big part of the whole MODEST project. So this was something that could be built on actually discussions and training that we have had so far in the project. So everybody or everything that I'm presenting here was available in the materials of this project and discussions so far. And this is certainly something that everybody is more than welcome to contribute to afterwards, and the work with this course will continue. But I will present what we have done so far. So this has been prepared in a Finnish, Armenian, Belarusian collaboration, and this is closely related to the doctoral training centers that we are preparing in the MODEST project, and the target groups of this course are not the PhD students, but the administrative and teaching staff of the doctoral training centers, and the aim being to train the future staff of doctoral training center in the critical aspects of designing, starting, and managing doctoral training center and doctoral training in general. A few learning outcomes. So the idea is to start with the historical and legal framework of the university system, concentrating on doctoral education. On this course, it's the European higher education framework is introduced quite thoroughly, including the Bologna process and the European credit transfer system, ECTS. And there is practice on creating modern curriculum for doctoral training, and also the administrative point of view in doctoral education is touched here and practiced. So the content, it's basically largely what I mentioned already, the historical perspective, how we have started the university system and ended up here where we are, the current legal framework that we have to follow and take into account. This has to be localized because it varies from country to country. Then thorough introduction of Bologna process, and then workshopping the curriculum design based mainly on the European credit transfer system. And then there is an idea to introduce good practices in doctoral education, including effective supervision, measuring student experience and well-being of PhD students, and so on. And finally, governance, administration, and management needed in doctoral training and related to doctoral training centers. The idea about how to organize this is to have a series of lectures. This might be an effective way of introducing this historical perspective and the legal framework and the European framework. But then I think we haven't yet kind of defined the workload, but I think the main part of the workload will be on the workshops and facilitated group work on curriculum design, student admissions, management structure, and division of responsibilities in doctoral training center. So that's in all its shortness what I was preparing to tell today. So we haven't agreed about the timeline of next steps, so I didn't include that information here. But as said, we are welcoming very much feedback and further ideas for this. and we will be continuing to polish and adding this workload thing and assessment principles here in the next phase. Thank you.
Thank you, Katja. Please, colleagues, if you have questions to Katja or comments also from Inga, Irina, from the coordinator side, and co-authors of a course development, please. I don't see yet questions. We have 42 participants join. So, yeah, Irina, please.
Well, thank you very much, Katja, for your presentation. For our community of partner country universities is very important. The topic of designing new courses and program for PhD students is very important, especially with implementation of the good practice which have our partner from Europe, ECTS implementation, and some other important things for course development. It's debate also on the level of our Ministry of Education in Russia. Also, this topic is very essential for Armenia and for Belarus. So we will know the main principle of designing a program for PhD students. It will be very helpful for harmonization of our PhD education to our countries with PhD education in Europe, and in particular with the University of Helsinki. One of the main aim of the of project outcomes for MIPT is developing double supervision, so-called co-tutor, but not only double supervision, but just real double degree on PhD level. So it's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is actually certainly something that could be mentioned. Basically, this part of well, not only part of the European framework. It's a more global thing. But yes, this double and multiple and joint degree practices and principles. Yes.
Just my comment. We have a very bad experience with one university from Japan. So the Japanese colleagues really wanted to create double degree program. The discussion took 3 years until up to now. We couldn't join our curricula in a proper way, so we really apologize with our Japanese colleagues, but I think it will be possible to realize after implementation what we are doing right now in MODEST project, within the MODEST project. Thank you.
I see one question in the chat from Eugen Kruszewski about the kind of how big the courses should be, how much credits and how much hours. Well, credits and hours are connected in the ECTS system, but this is I think this is a more general question, and we should definitely, this is part of the work that we should include this workload and workload in terms of credits as well. In this, I don't know if Inga or Irina, if you remember if there were discussions about whether there should be some guidelines, how much credits of the courses.
Yes, I remember our discussion. Just it was it's still very essential for us because we have our standard. We would like to upgrade these standards, and till up to now we try to calculate research work of students in credit, which is some of our colleagues think that it's not a correct approach. So well, I do hope that we will continue our discussion on this topic. Yeah.
Okay, if we don't have any
few words. May I add few words? So regarding the how much credits and how much hours, it's very significant questions because first we should understand how big this course should be. Then we will start the discussion, is it possible to include our government programs? Is it clear? Yeah, okay. So for us, it's very significant question. How much, how big this course should be? Yeah, okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I will make one comment here. So one thing that we have been doing here, not particularly in doctoral education, but we have some courses where it's possible to take the course with kind of a in two different credits. Like for example, there is a we have one online course that you can take as a 2-credit course, which then involves only some individual work, but then there's a possibility to contribute to a group work assignment within the same course and get 5 credits of the course. So there are of course different ways of organizing this, but this is one option that we can design these courses so that some universities or training centers can utilize it as a smaller number of credits course if that kind of is the thing that fits in the curriculum, and then some can have it larger. This is certainly one option. Of course, it must be then included in the course design.
Okay, thank you, Katja. I don't see any more questions, and maybe we can proceed to the next presentation.